Ahoy, snackmates, how the devil are you? It is Tuesday, it is the 12th of October 2021, and this is our 8am movement snack. So, if you're on catch-up firstly, this might be the one you want. If it is, stick around, listen to the preamble if you want to, you can skip through it. But hey, why? Let's have some fun. Or, if it's not the one you want, they're all on our Facebook group. You go find the one you do want, click it in there. But whatever you do, pop us a comment in, say hello, let us know you've been and shared some time with us today. I'm going to stop there. I'm going to say hello to people as they come on board, and I can see Gloria has popped up first through the door this morning. Gloria, good to have you with us. How the devil are you? Closely followed by Mrs. P and Ian, right, bringing up in bronze place. Good morning to all three of you. Say hello as you come on board, everybody. Grey, gloomy day here so far, but you know, things to do, so it doesn't really matter. Things to do, things to plan for, mobility to be had. That's the day for me. Bit of vacuuming, bit of shopping, bit of stuff like that, you know. So Ian, good morning. George, good morning to you. Time to start the day with a laugh. I'm going to start to take this personal now. People laughing at me all the time. It's as if I'm a jester. Francis from McFarlane from Bristol, good morning. Hey, listen, if we can't start the day with a laugh, what can we do, eh? Let's get the day off to a good start with a smile, a laugh, a giggle, and move forward from there. It can only get better then, can't it? Christine Perry, good morning to you and to everyone from Christine. She says, hi. Gloria, good morning. So where you are, huh? Yeah, it's a bit like that here. So, I can see sort of like, well, I think it's little bits of blue, but it could be lighter grey, really. Good morning, Dawn. Good to have you with us moving. Good morning to Snapmates from Dawn as well. Wendy, good morning. Margaret Hamilton, good morning to you. So Wendy Granger, Margaret Hamilton, in through the snack door, into the movement mansion, ready for our 8am movement snack. This is where we start the day. Cats are asleep again. They're being good. So they're tucked away in the corner. Good morning, Kels. How the devil are you? It's dry where you are. Sheila Day. That was Dawn, so away. Sheila Day. Here we got from Sheila. Wait. You've gone off the screen, Sheila. There you go. Morning, Dave. Great day yesterday with my sister visiting my cousin in Chelmsford. It's Carol Elliott awake yet? I don't know. I haven't seen her. But I'm glad you had a lovely day. Kels, a lovely hello there from you. Welcome to this Tuesday morning. Margaret Wood, good morning to you. Everyone from a cloudy Chesterfield. What else have we got here? Maddie Stranger, good morning to you. Julie Matthews, good morning to you as well. Sandra Hewitt, beautiful sunrise this morning. That's great to hear. Movement Mansion, long time since I last used that phrase. Yeah, we need to bring some of these back. Like, I think we need to have a bit of an air guitar day, a bit of a song day, I think, Kels. I think we need to, between me and you, we'll bring it back, you know. Long live the rewritten song, eh? Gillian Matthews, not Gillian Matthews, Gillian Hillier, sorry. Good morning to you, lovely day in Swansea. Stayed with a friend for a girly catch-up, and up in a new venue today. Wow. Looking forward to that by the sounds of it. That sounds good. It's always good to have a catch-up, isn't it? I went to a leaving party on Friday for one of the nurses that I work with, and I caught up with a couple of the other nurses I haven't seen for ages, and it's lovely. Anyway, listen, Carol Elliott's in. There you go. You're in, Carol. Sheila, Carol's awake. She's here. There you go. You tell her, Carol, I'm here. Right, we are at 8am, so if you want to lose the comments off the bottom of the screen, and they are gone. Should we have a 3, 2, 1? Should we do it in Zorro style? Good morning, everybody. You're with Dave Montgomery from Later Life Training. Today is Tuesday. It's the 12th of October, 2021. And this is our 8am movement snack. First opportunity to get those additional movement minutes into your day. Shall we get ourselves a going? Come on, then. We're going to decide firstly, are we doing this in a standing or are we doing it in a seated position? You've got Tigger today, look, with you. To help us out. Right, so standing or seated, that's our first choice. Solid, hard, fixed, external support available, sturdy chair. The cat gave me an evil look then. So what are you making so much noise about? I've got my socks on. 2 reasons. One, I love my Tigger socks. It's probably the only time I do wear socks is for this. I'm not a sock person. So I've got my socks on, so that's so I can feel the floor beneath my feet. I can engage with it. But I'm on a carpet or I'm on a rug. If I'm on a different floor, or if you're on a different floor, sensible, comfortable footwear is what we need. Plenty of space around us, nothing that's going to cause us any problems, nothing that's we're going to tread on and shout out about, nothing that's going to get in our way. Let's get our posture sorted to start off with, shall we? So just start off with, we're going to line our heels up in line with our knees and then in line with our hips. It's this lift and lengthen out from our hips to grow that a little bit taller. With the shoulders up, back, and press down. So we open the chest cavity. Now, seated is exactly the same position. But firstly, you've got to bring yourself off the back of the chair. We've got to go from to this. Bringing the back off the chair, instantly lifting that trunk, and then we've got that lift and shift. A bit like hi ho, it's off just like we go. There you go, Kels, there's the first new song for us. Line everything up again. Lift and lengthen. Shoulders back, down, and let's start with that circulation booster. It's small, controlled, flowing movements that we want. And we make them bigger, and that's how we boost our circulation. So let's take it from this heel raise into a march. Lifting the foot clear of the floor. That gives us the opportunity to start to point the toes down. Now this gets us some movement into those ankles. We focus on those ankle joints a little bit later on. But this gives us the opportunity to start with that. Using our support if we need to, and remembering seated, rather than lose technique, if we feel that fatigue there, change it back into that heel raise. Once we're going, let's add arm number one, as we decided to call it yesterday. Arm one, arm two, yeah? So arm one comes on in. It drives backwards from the elbow, so we get a driven, controlled movement, a purposeful movement, rather than just a swing of the arm. Now, in seated and in standing, if you feel ready for it, you can just swap to the other hand. If you're not using support in standing, that is. You've got the ability to just swap hands all the time. However, if we do use support, we need to think about what we're doing. So, hand down, another hand off, if the support is in front of us. And we can change like that. If it's to the side, however, we need to have a little bit of a different plan. So stop the arm, make the feet a little bit smaller, turn in towards your support, placing one hand on while the other one's still there before you bring the other off. And then once you've turned around, you can bring that bigger movement back in. Seated, standing, we can put both arms, both legs together, so we've got bigger movement within the body. And if we're using support, then we can make that movement bigger with that one arm, so we get that bigger movement. So what are we doing? We're boosting the circulation, believe it or not. That's why we call it a circulation booster. It's like that famous outdoor paint. It does what it says on the tin. But what we're actually doing, in essence, is we're getting the fuel around the body. So we're getting the oxygen into the blood, we're taking deeper breaths, and then raising our heart rate. So we're pumping that fuel around the body, the oxygen in the blood to use in the muscles. We're warming those muscles, we're preparing them, we're warming the joints, and we're preparing them. Not only for the snack we're about to do, but for the day ahead. A couple of minutes at the most, 3 is at the most. A little bit of a smaller movement, bring it to a pause, and we're ready to go into our top trio. We start, as always, with our shoulder, but before we do that, let's have a look at our base of support. So let's bring the heels just outside of the hips, feet flat on the floor, pointing forwards, lift and lengthen. Now, same in seated, and you might want to go for exactly the same width of support with your feet in seated, especially if standing is on your radar. Shoulders firstly, lift towards your ears, and then press back down. So we come a little bit closer so you can see those shoulders. Lift and press. Now, if I come a little bit closer as well, you get the benefit of losing my head look. How good is that? Don't have to see this ugly mug first thing in the morning. That's it. So 4 or 5 of those is what we're looking for. Try and get the best range of motion within there. Remember, we keep the neck lengthened. Once we've done our 4 or 5, take a momentary pause, and then let's bring it into this rotational movement. So shoulders come forward, we lift towards our ears, back past the earlobes, and then press down. Getting this cyclical motion happening. Now, as always, we might find that we have more mobility on one side than the other. And there's our first opportunity to crowbar later on, to focus on that one side. Once we've done our 4 or 5, take a little pause and let's move into our head turn. Now have some support available. even if you don't feel you need it. Turning our head can make us feel a little bit dizzy. We've got that big base of support again. Hand on our support. Look, here's my imaginary. If I can try and line it up. Look, I line it up with behind me. Amazing. Head goes to the side, pause in the centre, to the other side. This little pause is what is going to help us, hopefully, not feel any dizziness, because this is the bit where the system in our ears rebalances itself and allows the body to feel it knows where it's going. 4 or 5 on each side, and as I say, remember, use that support if you need it. Now, really important with all of these moves, but especially this one, you shouldn't feel any pain. Unless you've got pain in your neck, in which case you don't want to feel any more pain. So it's about taking it to the best range of motion you can, but not pushing it too far. We don't want to hurt our neck. That's going to upset us for the rest of the day if we have, you know, when you wake up sometimes you go, oh, I've got that little stiffness in my neck, and everything seems to hurt, doesn't it? Right, from there, we're going to lengthen down the back. Fingers on the chin, eye line focus. Now the fingers do not push, they just guide. Okay, so we've got 2 options. Here, keeping the eye line level, so we get this extra little chin, you get a bit of a chin tuck, or leave the fingers where they are and bring it back. But do you see how what we're doing is lengthening down through the back here? From the front, you don't see a great deal. Just that extra chin coming in though. But what we're doing is we're restacking the head back onto the top of our spine. So that's one of the heaviest parts of our body. So getting it back in means we end up with this really good alignment and this good centre of gravity. Once you've done 4 or 5 of those, take a pause, back in to a circulation booster with just our legs. So using our support if we need it. We've got that movement happening again. Now we're only going to do about 30 seconds. So in seated, if you can manage this march before fatigue hits in, go for it. So we can start again to get that real good movement happening in those ankles, ready for our last trio. Just giving our body a little bit of a boost before we move from the top to the trunk. 30 seconds is all we're really looking for, about that. Bring it to a pause. Let's set our base of support. Now again, in seated, get this good wide base of support. So heels outside of our hips. Knees softened, not locked and not bent. So here's a locked knee. Here's a soft knee, here's a bent knee, yeah? It's that softened position we're going for. That will help us stay upright. The movement is straight down, straight up. Using support if you need, you can change from side to side. If it's to the side of you, then you come into the support, back to the centre. You do 5 on that side and then turn in. Change to the other side. Seated, we can set that base of support up again there. Down the leg of the chair. The important part here is buttocks, our sitting bones within them, their buttocks, are our feet in this instance. So they stay firmly on the chair, just as our feet stay firmly on the floor. Try and get the best reach that you can. You're lengthening down through this side of the body as you're shortening down through the other. Think about reaching down to get that £1 coin that fell out of your pocket, it's gone down the side of the sofa, or reaching down to pick something off a lower shelf if you're in a standing position or seated. 4 or 5 on each side is what we want, and using your leg or using the leg of the chair gives us not only a guide that we're going straight down, which is what we want to do, we don't want to come forward or backwards, but also gives us an idea of how far we're reaching, because we'll see changes over time, but we're probably going to be unaware of them. So something we can measure against is great. Right, once you've done your 4 or 5 of those, take a pause, we're into our trunk twist. So shoulders up, back and down. Arms, you can do what you want with. They can stay here, but what we ideally want to do is keep the elbows in line with the shoulders. In seated, bottom stays on the chair. We rotate to the side. We come back in. So arms can be down by the side if you want to. They can come on up. We don't really want this tray position though. We don't want to be holding a tray. Who wants to be holding a tray all the time? No. Standing, seated, you hear us say, keep your bum on the chair. Yeah, that's because we don't want to be moving in the hips. So in standing, we've got to focus on keeping those hips still. Movement's the same whether we're using support or not. You change hand. Again, if it's to the side, you turn into it and back. However, because we're focused on our hips staying still, what you might want to do is use your support as a reference point. So here now, I've got my bottom against my support. As I rotate to the side, back into the centre for a pause, I can feel whether I've got any movement, because if I feel the bottom lifting, I know I've got movement in my hips, and I want to try and keep the hips nice and still. All of the movement is coming into here. Turning to talk to somebody next to you, crossing the road, seat belts, all those sorts of activities. But you know, the trunk, as we say, it just plays a huge part in keeping us upright, whether it's seated or standing. So let's treat it. Yeah, let's look after it. Once we've done our 4 or 5 on each side, we're heading into our back extension. Now this time, we really need to focus on this pelvis. What we don't want to happen, we talked about it going from side to side, lifting that way, turning that way. What we don't want to happen is it to come forward or backwards either. So we need to focus into our pelvis. The chin is going to stay level. The movement, using our support if we need it, is a lift of the chest and then an extension backwards. So we lift the chest and then we extend backwards, creating that double chin again. Back in and release. So in standing, once again, support if you need it, but you might want to place yourself against there so you can feel whether you've got movement. As I've said to you loads of time, I prefer to do this one in a seated position because now I can be a bit lazy in as much as I don't have to think what my pelvis is doing. I can feel what it's doing. So this lift of the chest, keeping the eye line level, extending back, and this is going to really help if you have any lower back pain. The important part about this is it is not a lean back. So we're not leaning back, putting pressure onto that lower back. We're lifting and extending. So that just gives us that little bit of movement there. So you'll feel it down through the lower back here, but it won't be right at the very base like you'd get with a lean, and you won't feel any pressure down through that back. 4 or 5 is what you want to do for that. Try and get some good quality movements out of that. Once you've done your 4 or 5, back in for another circulation booster. It's arms only, so let's really take those arms. Big movements in the front, driving back with those elbows. First, so 1 and 2. Arm 1, arm 2. There we go. This big movement, 30 seconds again, just to start to get it. And you can see we can start to get some movement into the shoulders as well with that look, and we can start to get a bit of rotation. So again, a bit of a loosening off through that trunk. Once we've done our 30 seconds, we bring it to a pause, and it's time to head on downstairs to the ankle, feet and toes. Now, have support available, even if you don't need it. This is not a balance challenge. We're trying to get the best mobility. Leg closer to the support, soft knee, hand on, other foot comes on in. Have a look the first time if you want to, because we want to get the toe and the heel in exactly the same place. Once we feel comfortable with it, we can take that arm to the front, and when our heel's on the floor, splay your toes. As you bring the foot over, scrunch the toes and then point them down to the floor. That gives us our heel-toe movement and get some movement into those ankles, into those toes as well. In seated, we can do the same. However, what you're going to need to do is readdress where your feet are, so you get that space to work in. If we're here, what's likely going to happen is we'll get a bit of forward-backwards motion. So make sure you've got some room to be able to get your heel and your toe and get a real good point on your toe as well. Or, if it was a hi-ho forward, it must be a ho-hi backwards, mustn't it? Or a oi-he. Work that one out. Lift the foot off the floor. I'll go for this one. Lift the foot off the floor just about an inch. That's all. Point the toes away. Bring the toes in towards the shin. Scrunch the toes. Splay the toes. That gives us this movement into our ankle joint. This is not about strength, as that's not about balance. So if you need to pop your foot down and have a rest and keep it low. Don't bring it up. Try and get your best range of motion into there and really feel that ankle mobilising, because that plays such an important part in our stability. There, look, heel, toe, and can you feel, as you become more aware of them, I've spoken to a few people about this lately, as we become more aware of them, what we tend to find is we can feel our toes actually doing what they do. They grip the floor for us, they help us grip. So as I shift weight here in my shoes, which I haven't got on, my imaginary shoes, the Emperor's new shoes, look, in my socks, I can feel my feet moving, but I can feel my toes gripping, I can feel my ankles mobilising. And that's why we do it. It mobilises our ankles, it allows our ankles to react to changes in the floor underneath us that help us stay steady and stable. There you go, that is your 8 AM movement stack for this Tuesday, the 12th of October 2021. Go forth, Have a wonderful day. Keep mobile, keep active, keep crowbarring, stay safe. See you real soon, folks. Bye.